ladies and gentlemen, with the appropriate introduction, big marketers in social media, two visions of the future. It's Jim Singer. Let's have a big round of applause.
Thanks, Shelley. Appreciate it. I thought you had a great comment in the last panel that anyone who says they know where this is going is a fraud, because it's true. And you know, I come from an industry of know-it-alls, right? We big management consultants. We love to have the big answer. We like to have it perfectly supported by data and analysis and everything. And I can't do that here because I just don't know. But I thought I'd share with you a few little pieces of data that we've been collecting for the last couple of years, and we're going to continue to collect because I think it does inform at a macro level how you may or may not be thinking about social media and your brands as we look ahead. So little history lesson. The first time I tried to do this, put some data around a lot of breathless talk in the industry, was actually in 2003. Social media was starting to percolate, and I said, well, you know, this could really be a big game changer in the B2B world and in Salesforce and in HR. So I did a big data study collecting data on Plaxo. And it was a wonderful piece of work, and I posted it on my MySpace page, too. So didn't get the reach I thought. But, and someday you'll probably be laughing at this very Facebook study that I'm about to talk about, hopefully not in the next 10 minutes. But so 2010, 2 years ago, you couldn't open an ad week or go to a website or read a blog without everyone talking about the reach of Facebook. And it was mostly Facebook then. 700 million users at the time, now it's 1 billion. You know, a significant reach number. Most of us trained in conventional marketing know what 700 million means. And there was a consensus that it's so big, it's so huge, you have to be there. And it's the most important thing that you're going to be doing. I mean, that was kind of the kind of tone in 2010. And I thought, well, let's sort of step back. And I couldn't find anywhere data on how big brands are really, what they're really doing on Facebook. You obviously heard stories. You could hear anecdotes. You could go and look for yourself on one or two. But there was no sort of all-encompassing sort of study that I could find anyway that sort of talked about, OK, well, here are some of the largest brands. And here's exactly what they're doing and how they're reacting to consumers and what they're doing on their Facebook pages. So we decided, well, let's go and just collect it. So we set up a study, and we took, my original plan was to take the top 100 brands in the world. I got a list from our good friends at Interbrand. But when we realized the amount of manual labor that would be involved to collect all the information from every one of those brands, it quickly became the top 50 brands. And we decided, well, let's, you know, I work for a big consulting firm. We have a lot of resources. I decided to take our entire office in India, in New Delhi, and manually collect for a month every post, every reply, every interaction, and to codify it for the top 50 brands in the world. And we did that in November 2010, and we got some interesting results. I call it socially awkward media. At the time, they were a bit shocking that there was still a lack of exploiting what the medium could really do. First of all, 5 brands didn't have consumer Facebook presence, and some of them for good reason. I think Goldman Sachs was one of those, and if Lisa's still here, you probably don't want a big, free-flowing consumer discussion in the year 2010 about Goldman Sachs as probably a pretty good decision. But of the 45 brands that did have an active and managed Facebook page, what we noticed was that 25 of those brands did not reply to a single consumer post during the period in November 2010. It was quite remarkable, I think. We expected a few, but and almost all the brands, 41 of them, landed visitors on a sort of the one-way sort of splash page, right? That part of the Facebook page that looks like a website, right? And many times it was actually a replica of the brand's website. So, you know, the sense we had then at the time was that these brands are racing to get on Facebook, but, you know, it's still being managed by people like us, boomers and Gen Xers, and, you know, trained in a world of one-way medium. And one of my clients at the time said, look, Jim, you know, we were doing a big marketing mix study, and he said, we've got to get up and running on Facebook. We have to be authentic. We have to be transparent. But the one constraint is we have to maintain control. That was kind of the big brand kind of look at Facebook in 2010. And one other thing, as we kind of tracked, we really dug into what the consumers were talking about. Of course, you know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. There were complaints, but it was about 10% of the posts were complaints. A third of the comments were very positive, and were on the brands that had Facebook pages that allowed it. They were consumer-to-consumer discussions, exactly the kind of stuff that you kind of hope as a brand manager happens. But still, 89% of consumer-originated posts or consumer replies went unanswered by the brand. So, you know, a long way to go, we think. But to us, it served a good purpose. Now we have a baseline. We have this baseline we can come back to. Every 6 months, we decided we would try to replicate the data collection, which made me very popular in our New Delhi office. It did get a little easier, and listening tools are getting better. We're supplementing and whatnot. And we're not doing a full census now. I'm told by my statisticians it's a virtual census, which I don't know what that means. It sounds like a sampling to me, but they say, no, it's not a sampling, it's a virtual census. And I don't know, I don't remember that term from statistics class way back. But in all events, we now have a methodology and a regular cadence to which we collect this data. And so since November 2010, every May and November, we spend time looking at the Facebook behavior of those same brands. But there's still a long way to go. The most recent, we're doing it again next month, but the most recent update, we still see that brands are still having, and it's getting harder to generalize, there's a bit of a bimodal distribution here, but the brands, most of them, are still having trouble, I think, getting a lot of the natural things that come to people as users on Facebook. There's some great examples, though. First and foremost, just looking through the data, you see a lot tighter stewardship. You see quicker. Those companies that do reply to consumer posts do so very quickly. A lot of them are now personalized, and many of your brands, you probably know this. You know, it's a person writing on behalf of the brand. That's a relatively new trend that we saw. And a lot of customer service-related brands are settling their users' problems in real time on Facebook. We're not seeing the digital brush-off anymore. If you remember, a couple years ago, someone would complain, and customer service rep would get on and say, please go to our website or our 800 number. Just get the heck off Facebook and please go away. And there's a lot less of that now. UPS is always a great example where their drivers are battling through blizzards and posting and trying to connect with their receivers and whatnot. So we are seeing a little more interactivity in that respect. But there's still sort of a group of have-nots or don't-get-its or whatever. About half of the companies, I think 27 of the 48 brands, still did not reply to consumer posts, which these are the biggest brands in the world. So it really kind of separating out. You know, I can't venture to start guessing why, but these are clearly people with professional marketing departments and whatnot. We're still seeing, and those companies are posting lots of coupons, friends and family sales, whatever, but not a lot of interactivity, and still maybe a fear of losing control or whatnot. So, you know, these are just the data, and we're trying to sort of make sense of it, but not as the I get it's are still a minority of that group, sadly. Another thing we're doing now is we're trying to track how big brands are doing in big events. So Super Bowl broad telecasts, Academy Awards in the US. We're tracking how these brands use television advertising and get some sort of virtuous cycle between the storytelling power of TV and the interactivity of social media. And most recently, we had colleagues from all around the world. Every office, an office in every continent, watched their local telecasts of the Olympic opening ceremonies. And of the 246 spots that we cataloged in that 3-hour period, only about 10% had any mention of social media. And it was really skewed because if you looked at the US telecast, it was about 50%. And I thought it was fascinating that in the Olympics where, and as Shelley mentioned too, people were the athletes themselves and celebrities were all interacting. President Obama was tweeting congratulations to Michael Phelps minutes after he wins his gold medal. Missy Franklin was saying that getting her tweet from Justin Bieber was just as thrilling as getting her gold medal. You know, you're seeing people live their lives on social media, and you saw that the branders sort of chose not to participate. Now, I can't really speculate with any degree of authority, but I would guess it was probably, you know, they had great, highly produced spots that were very altruistic and you know, clearly made for the Olympics, and someone probably guided them that you know, they didn't want to cheapen it by putting social media into the mix. I'm not sure, but you know, the facts are what they are. Very strange. So, you know, a couple of things we're sort of seeing. We're going to continue this research. It's just a great baseline, I think, as we go forward here into the future. One thing we noticed, though, is that, you know, like does not equal love. That the amount of likes has quadrupled during the test period the last 2 years, our data collection period, and that you know, there's a lot of false positives. You can like something because you get something for it, a sale, a coupon, or whatever. You can like a brand because someone cool or someone that you like likes it. You know, it's just a very, to us, a very kind of confusing way to measure things. But buried within that number is people who really do like it. And your brand soulmates are in there somewhere. And there's probably some way you can try to activate those true lovers to pull them out from the likes. And you know, some brands do a great job on that. Coca-Cola always has something going on. In the Super Bowl, they had a great telecast that linked with their social media campaign, where you could give Cokes to your friends. A great way to test it, to test your within that population of likes, make someone do something that would prove their love, I guess. So we're sort of tracking that and finding it pretty interesting. And again, just on that topic of likes, you know, the new metrics, I think, still need to get sorted out. We don't know what they are, but the classic metric, you know, everyone loves the like button because it's a classic reach metric, but again, probably not the answer. And you know, in the old days of publishing, you would have circulations, cost per thousand, pass-along numbers. You know, I think you're going to need to get a metric and develop metrics that really reflect how people use this. You know, retweets and things like that are probably starting to become useful. But again, the classic old metrics probably don't really have much of a place, and this is all still developing. So. And then finally, and you guys, this is great because everyone else talks about being transparent and open, but in their hearts, a lot of us are of the generation, and we learned how to do marketing in a one-way sense. And giving up control is hard. And but to do it right in social, there's really not a choice. And a good example of someone who has given up control to their benefit and seems to be working, it's just a really fun brand to watch, is Unilever's Marmite in the UK. If any of you have lived or worked in the UK, you know it's that yeast byproduct that is used as a spread, very cult following. They have, for 10 years, gone with a love it or hate it campaign. And the Marmite Facebook page has 900,000 users. And the I Hate Marmite page, which is run by Marmite, has 212,000 likes. And they actually had a contest, vote to whether to change the name of Marmite to Tar-mite, which is a classic. Marmite won by 51 to 49%. They kept the name. They really would have changed it to Tar-mite had it not won. I don't know who was monitoring that election, but and those are just the kind of things that a brand can do if they're willing to cede control and know that that in the end there will be things will work out for them. You know, to Shelley's point from the last panel, no one knows where this is going. But one thing we do know is that it's not going to be a nice continuous journey where tomorrow's, like all the trends of today, are going to just be extrapolated to tomorrow. So we do a lot of scenario planning and future sessions just to get our clients sort of thinking a little bit discontinuously. And you know, to me, the two big variables, if we jump ahead to the future, are how are people going to continue to live their lives and interact with each other on social media? And then, you know, the other axis, if we're going to make a little 2x2 like consultants need to, the other axis would be how do brands fit in? How are they going to be allowed by users into the party? Because brands are not people, although someone said this morning brands have to act like people. So you know, we produced a few scenarios here. You can go to our website and look at a couple of them, if that's helpful. And we posted there's a lot more data behind the things I'm sort of teasing you with here. Feel free to just go to our site. You can click on Media Summit tile on our website and find a lot of the background to what I'm talking about. But so that's all I have for right now. But I certainly would look forward in the coming months and years to continue reporting back our work, and I would expect it to change dramatically. So thank you.